Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're doing this amazing illustration that I did back in 2022 that I unfortunately never posted. But this is a realistic illustration. I haven't been doing realism in a very long time, and I will be getting into that a little later on. But for this one, I know that when I did this, I really wanted to draw Zendaya. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name. I'm so sorry. I really don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, but I am a fan. I really do love her shows. I've literally seen her since I've been watching her shows since she was in Disney Channel, so I really enjoy her work. But I saw this image of her. I'm gonna find the image again. I'm gonna try and find the image again, and I am going to pop it up on screen for you guys. And I was like, okay, I want to do this image. I really want to do this image because I think it looks so beautiful. She looks amazing in this photo. And I sat down, I did the tracing. I do have a way that I do it so I can transfer it to the paper that I'm gonna use. I'm using Canson layout paper, 180 GMS. I use that because it's the affordable paper that I have here to use, and it's actually pretty good. I know that there are better paper for me to use, of course. There's always more professional, better material, but I use what I have, and I have a whole bunch of Canson layout paper because I like the paper. And whilst I was doing this, I did realize that I made her a bit too pale. She wasn't out of her skin tone, but when I was doing this, I was like, she's a bit too pale. So later on in the video, I do actually go back and I do a little touch up and make her skin a little bit more vibrant and it pops up more. So that is literally the process of working with something like this. I wouldn't say tedious. It can get very tedious, and that is one of the reasons why I haven't done a realism in a really long time. It's mostly because it really takes a lot of time. I know that there are a lot of people who do it in one sit through and they work out. Yeah, no, I'm not them. I'm me. I know how long I can take on an art, and I know that when I do realism, I will probably start an artwork and then I'll pause. I'll take a really long pause, no, look at it, just work on something else, because it can get tedious and sometimes very frustrating, because you're gonna look at it most of the times and be like, it's not getting anywhere. Why isn't it getting anywhere? But you are getting somewhere. But since you've been working for that artwork for hours and hours, in your mind, you really, at that moment when you're working with the illustration, you don't really see that. And that's something that actually happens to a lot of people, and it's actually good for, even if you're new to art, to understand that even if you do traditional art, not even realism but something else, that can happen. Or if you're working with digital art, that can also happen, because sometimes you're doing a really big piece and there are a lot of intricate or complicated background images and clutter, so that really can get in the way of you completing or feeling a bit tired of doing that work. So I will not lie to you that I finished this piece and I took out the time of all of this, and it was 25 hours. And on those 25 hours, I'm not going to lie, because I know, because this is literally how I used to do the other ones as well, because I started doing a bit more complex. I started taking my time, more of my time, from like just sitting down and doing the art. It definitely takes a toll on you, and you have you use a lot of your time to be able to do this. So if you're into doing traditional art, and I use like the slowest medium possible, which is colored pencils. I love colored pencils, as I'm also using Faber Polychromos colored pencils, because I really like Faber Castell. I love their stuff. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a fangirl. If you guys can see, I have started like doing the little touch-ups that I told you that gave her a little bit more life, and that is how I went on with it. I did have like a little cheat sheet that I have with the colors that I pre-prepared before I started, so I did not just wing it. I did prepare loads of the colors beforehand. I don't think I would want to get into hyper realism. I think my goal in the beginning, I was going into hyper realism, but then I was just like, I'm gonna take forever to do one illustration. But I think the more I do it, the more I'll get better, and I'll learn different things. And that is one thing that I was very okay with, especially doing this illustration. I'm currently working on the hair right now, and let me tell you something, working on hair is something that I love, but not in realism. When it comes to realism, I'd rather work on the skin and just be there for hours making that baby pop. Because hair is very tricky, because the way I like to color in hair, to do it in realism, it does become a little bit weird, and I kind of did it the way that I learned it, but I add my own style and way to do it, like how I like to do it, and it works. So it wasn't bad. I added like my own technique to it, but it worked. Mostly because when you do realistic hair, you kind of do it in chunks, like the darker bits and the lighter bits. I don't work that way. I'm sorry. I just really don't work that way. I'm currently working on the ear. A lot of people say that the ear is like the most hardest part of the human face to color in, because there are a lot of intricate pieces. Like there are deeper parts, there are very light parts, it's very complicated. But I think that I only had a problem with the first ear I ever colored, which was, I think it was you, and then afterwards I'll pop her picture on the thing. I'll pop her picture so you guys can see the one I did. Like I think I should really redo that one now to see, but I'll do it probably in a smaller, I'm not gonna do it in an A4 because it's gonna take a really long time to do, and yeah, I got other stuff to do at the moment. But here, I'm just using, I started using black, but I normally just got the black for the darker parts of her hair because on the photo, her hair was a mixture of black, it was dark sepia, and I think it was burnt sienna. And I kind of just went in and I mixed both, like, the colors in, but I don't think I used the burnt sienna. I decided to just use the dark sepia and the black for the darker highlights, and then to actually get this style and this whole way of actually the hair looking, I just went in with my X-Acto knife or my craft knife. I don't know, everyone says it differently. And I used it to literally scrape, like very carefully scrape all the color, all the color graphite from the pencils in out to give it a more likeliness. You guys are gonna see a couple of my headshots here, just a little bit of them, because I kind of lean in and the hair was falling. And I am going into the neck area of her illustration. But besides this, I really enjoy doing this illustration. Even though I kinda don't really like doing it as much today, I do want to do another one. I don't know. I'm still convincing myself that I should sit down and start one, but I don't know if I'm just gonna do it for myself or if I'm gonna record it. And the one that I was thinking of doing is Max from Stranger Things. I really wanted to do her, and I really like her character, so I really wanted to do her. And I think it would look really good because the image that I saw was like really good. And I loved it so much, so I'm considering doing that. But I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I'm still thinking about what I'm gonna do. I kind of already have like half of the drawing done, but I don't know where the file is, so I'll have to look for the file to see if it's still there and all of my markings are there, so I can draw it on the paper and then pass it on to the paper that I'll use for this. And I do have all the colors. I think the only colors that I don't have is for her hair. I'll have to check that later. So on this part, even on the photo, it was a bit dark, but I think I made it a bit too red. I thought it was gonna be too dark, but then afterwards I think I made it a bit too red. But even though, like, if I'm not mistaken, she was in a red background and she was wearing a red dress, so I think the light would have probably, depending on where it was, it could have actually like hit her skin, where like her chest area, and it could have made it a little bit reddish as well. But that is just what I speculate. It probably wasn't that. No. I probably just made it a little bit too red. But all in all, nothing is perfect, and I really enjoyed making this illustration. In the end, it turned out beautiful. It actually turned out the way I was envisioning it, and if you guys would like to see more, I do have other ones here. I will list them down below in the description and also up here in the cards. But besides that, I really loved doing this one. Will I sit down and do another one? Maybe. When? I have no clue. But that's it for me today. I will leave you guys with the rest of this illustration, and I will see you guys next week for more. So have a great day, week, month, year, whenever you're watching this. Bye guys!